I'm going to be working smarter and not harder here, installing a program called Notepad++. This is a terrific program that I highly recommend to you, completely free, Notepad++. This is going to allow me to open up the install file, which I've already downloaded to my desktop off of the server. It's going to allow me to open up this install file over here on my computer. Look for another app. We're going to have to tell it that we want to use Notepad++. And so, let's see. Notepad++. Open it like that. Plugin manager, just ignore the updates. Okay, now the reason that I used Notepad++, first of all, I really like the program and I'm very familiar with it, but the reality is if you try to open this just with Windows Notepad, you're going to get a very unformatted jumble like this. It doesn't look very good. Notepad++ is a little better at formatting, so that's why I'm choosing to use it here. But this way I can have this in the background. I can be following the steps. It's telling me what I need to do here. And then I can be following along here on the server, and it's just going to make life a little bit easier. So if you want to do that as well, what you'll need to do is make sure that you give the proper permissions to the install file so that you can then use WinSCP to copy that folder over. See, there are some permissions issues here. Sorry, that's not a permission issue. I'm in the wrong folder. But there are some permissions issues with WinSCP that can make it daunting to use sometimes if you're not logged in as root, which I don't recommend doing that. So you may need to adjust the permissions so that you can then take it and drag it over to the desktop, and then you can open it with Notepad++, just like I've done if you want to follow along and do that. So the first thing that we have to do as far as MySQL is concerned is create a database named time clock. We've already moved the directory. Now we have to create that database named time clock, and I'm going to show you how to do that in MySQL. So now in order to access MySQL, we can do sudo MySQL, which tells MySQL we're trying to get in as the root user, which we want to do in this case, and then -p telling it we want to specify our password, where we could put our password out here on the command line, but then everybody would be able to see our password, or somebody could potentially be able to see our password, and it would be in our history as well. So it's better just to do sudo MySQL and then the P option. Now after we do that, it's going to prompt us for a password, but I wanted to show you, you can also do MySQL and then -u, and then you can specify the username that you would like to log in as. It may not be root. In this case, it is root. And then the P option that you'd like to specify a password. Those commands are going to do the same thing. Put in the password that you specified previously when you set up MySQL. This is not your root password, because root does not have a password here on this system. It's not authenticatable as far as a login to a shell. So you're putting in the password that you've specified there. Now that we're in, you're actually going to find MySQL to make a lot of sense. What do we want to do? We want to create a database. What do we want it to be called? Let's go back to our instructions here. We're creating a database named time clock, or whatever we wish to name it. I'm going to stick with their default recommendation of time clock there. So create database time clock, and then the most important thing when you're working with MySQL that I myself tend to forget is the semicolon. Make sure you end your statement with a semicolon. If you've done any programming, then this you know that's going to make sense to you. But create database time clock, and then a semicolon. We're going to hit enter. Query was okay. One row affected. We have created a database now that is called time clock.